Sheriff responds to concerns over jail conditions.
We have an alert day in place for the 4 states that runs through Monday for the excessive heat. Plus, a change in drought conditions. The latest ahead in the Skywatch Weather Center.
And it looks like a text from the IRS, and it promises a refund. All you have to do is click on a link. Not so fast. We take a look at the latest IRS scams and the red flags to look for.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
From black mold to a lack of proper bedding, the Ottawa County Sheriff addresses concerns at the county jail. This is KOAM News at Noon. I'm Tanya Bach. Earlier this week, we reported a disturbance that resulted in a fire, smashed windows, and a broken hot water line at the Ottawa County Jail. Sheriff David Dean says they're in the process of making upgrades at the jail, and despite the continued disturbances, jail conditions are improving. In December, the Miami Trub presented the county with a $2 million grant for a jail remodel. Some folks, though, are still waiting to see the updates. KOAM's Carrie Worthen talked with Sheriff Dean about the concerns.
I have a family member in Ottawa County. The jail is full of black mold.
Complaints about the Ottawa County Jail are not new and something the Sheriff's Office is working to address. It's more than just fights and fires.
We've had inmates scrub that stuff, okay? The design of this place was stupid. They put sheetrock in a jail. So what do you think's going to happen to that sheetrock? The jail inspectors came in here and go, well, there's mold, but you can't prove it's black mold. I don't know. It's something that we're fighting and we're trying to fix.
This Miami woman asked to remain anonymous, but spoke about issues at the jail. Black mold, just one of them.
There is inmates who are AIDS positive.
Another concern, health.
The past 6 months, we've had 2 people in here with AIDS, and we'll get them OR'd out of here because of the medication issue. Not because they had AIDS, it's because of the medication issue. We can't afford the medication.
Also, sleeping arrangements and what inmates are sleeping on are a concern.
And there's a minimum of 3 inmates per cell. So they're sleeping in the floor with no mats, no blankets, no pillows.
We do have problems with keeping enough mats for our inmates because they tear them up. They take the stuffing out so they can make pillows. They use the outer part of the mat to cover up their bunks so we can't see what they're doing. So they're destroying our mats. I don't know how many mats I've bought since I've been here.
We were not allowed inside the jail to get video, but we did ask about updates already completed.
So it's best not to even see what we've done. Because if you see what we're doing, you're going to go see a judge at some point.
In Miami, Carrie Worthen, KOAM News.
Now, Sheriff Dean says a new roof and an AC unit will be installed at the end of this month. Well, this unbearable heat is drying up the 4 states. Chris Warner joins us with the first look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've got this alert day. It runs through Monday, could be extended because of the excessive heat, and it's going to continue for the next several days. Skywatch Storm Tracker, though, out in southeast Kansas, we do have some scattered showers out in Chautauqua County by Independence. They're not going to make a difference in the temperatures, really, and they're not going to make a difference in our drought situation, which has changed, and I'm going to go over that in just a minute. We do have in the orange the heat advisories that run through Thursday at 8 o'clock. Most of us have been cleared out, but as we were saying this morning, that does not mean it's not going to get hot today. It's going to get hot today, and it's going to remain that way. So here's the bad news. The drought situation, as we had feared, has gotten worse. So if we zoom into our area, the severe drought we were talking about out at West Plains, now they're in the extreme, and severe drought has been expanded across a good chunk of the area. We're talking most of southwest Missouri, northeast Oklahoma, and into southeast Kansas, and that means now moderate drought conditions are now up where it was just abnormally dry, and then we've got the abnormally dry. So all of our area is experiencing some kind of drought conditions right now, and it's not going to get better anytime soon. Heading to the future, or right now actually, we are sitting in the lower to mid 90s, and through the day, we're going to dip on off, get up to the lower 100s, get down into the 80s, and overnight lows tonight in the lower to mid 70s. We'll have more on your complete forecast here in just a little bit.
All right, thanks, Chris. More than 100 million Americans are under excessive heat warnings and advisories today as the nation deals with the devastating effects of climate change. Severe heat is fanning flames nationwide with several fires in Texas where parts of Somervell County have been burned to a crisp. This month alone, bone-dry conditions and record-high temperatures have fueled 86 large fires across the country. President Biden promised new executive actions to combat climate change, including a $2.3 billion investment to build climate-resistant infrastructure. Well, unprecedented blistering heat continues to cause big problems across Europe. Wildfires are burning in Greece, and water there is in short supply. It's the same in Italy, where some towns have been evacuated due to wildfires, with 9 cities on a heat wave alert. The government blames climate change. Well, there's sadness today over the death of a famous giant panda in Hong Kong, the world's longest living male in captivity. CBS's Tina Kraus takes us there for the story.
This playful panda named Anan was a star attraction at a Hong Kong theme park for more than 20 years. Jason Lau says Anan was a very vibrant and adorable panda who I grew up watching. I feel sad he's passed away. Visitors are streaming past his empty enclosure to say goodbye after the 35-year-old panda was put down Thursday. Like many older pandas, he had high blood pressure, but his health got worse over the last few weeks. The popular panda lived the equivalent of 105 human years. 11-year-old JB Lau was smitten. She says, I've seen other pandas in my travels, but Anan was the most special, the cutest and plumpest. Anan and his former mate Xiaxia were diplomatic gifts from the Chinese government in 1999. Xiaxia held the record for the world's oldest ever panda in captivity when she died 6 years ago at the age of 38. Now Anan is gone, but not forgotten, with many writing messages of condolences to the panda who warmed their hearts. Tina Kraus, CBS News.
Well, scientists believe giant pandas in captivity live longer with a lifespan of about 30 years, whereas pandas in the wild tend to live just 15 to 20 years. That's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on KOAM News at noon, a scam alert.
The IRS is warning that an old scam is back again. I'm CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger with tips on how to protect yourself.
And later, we're making cookie dough bites in the Mr. Food Test kitchen. Federal Trade Commission says last year Americans lost $5.8 billion to fraud. In many cases, criminals pretend to be from the IRS. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger offers ways to protect yourself.
The IRS is warning that once again, scam artists are posing as the tax agency to rip off Americans. Millions of people have received fake emails or texts that appear to be from the IRS. They're promising a tax refund or stimulus payment if you just click on a link. The criminals are trying to get personal information, or they claim the victim has to pay a fee before the fake refund can be sent. Con artists are also trying to scare people into paying up with calls like this one.
We are reaching you to inform you that IRS is filing a lawsuit against you.
It's important to know that the IRS does not demand payment or ask for credit or debit card information over the phone. Also, agents will not reach out to you through text or social media. It's not just older Americans falling for this scam and others. The Federal Trade Commission says 41% of people who lost money last year were in their 20s. To report a fraud or scam, visit reportfraud.ftc.gov. And if you've received a tax phishing email, forward it to phishing@irs.gov. In New York, I'm Jill Schlesinger.
Still to come on the KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
If you've ever snuck a fingerful of cookie dough out of the mixing bowl while no one was looking, make sure you tune in today.
But first, Chris Warner returns with your complete forecast.
We do not have any good news as the week rolls on, especially when it comes to our weather and the drought situation. We had been talking about over in West Plains, they had been about the only spot in this brown Now they're in red for extreme drought, and now a good chunk of the area is under severe drought. That's because it has been so dry for so long. That also means with severe drought overtaking a good chunk of the area, we now have the moderate drought moving up, and we've also got the abnormally dry conditions. So that means every county in our immediate viewing area is experiencing some kind of drought to some kind of level, and it's not going to improve. 7th and range line, you can see it's sunny, it's hot, and when we take a look at the current conditions, it's also very, very dry. As a matter of fact, because of how dry it is, look, it's 96 with a feels like of 95 because the dew point is down, and that humidity is bone dry at 27%. And it's that way across the entire region, unfortunately. We're sitting in the lower to mid-90s. Temperatures will continue to climb throughout the afternoon, and we'll talk about that right now. We are going to head for highs in the lower 100s again and again and again, and the conditions are going to stay dry and dry and dry. Temperatures dipping off into the lower 80s by midnight. Overnight lows in the lower to mid 70s across the board. The Skywatch Storm Tracker is showing some activity out in southeast Kansas. You watch here, but it's not really going to do much for the temperatures, and it is absolutely not going to do much for the drought. I know we're at that point, any rain helps, but this is just not going to be enough. In fact, still have heat advisories for northeast Oklahoma, northwest Arkansas that run through 8. And although all of these areas are no longer under advisories, as I just mentioned, it's still hot, which means it can still be dangerous outside. So over the next 24 hours, it's still going to be hot. We get a nice evening. We have maybe one more of these before the overnight lows start getting bad again. And then as we head into tomorrow, those temperatures soar right back up into the lower 100s under sunny skies. So that brings us to some extreme heat safety tips. We've got to remind you, even though there's not advisories, it's still very hot and it can still be very dangerous. So make sure you're staying hydrated, limit those outdoor activities, wear lightweight, light-colored clothes, and check on the elderly and the pets. Future Track does not show us much in the way of good news. We have some passing cloud cover, a stray shower or two as we head into Friday, otherwise completely dry. And then there's the 7-day forecast, and we still have those alert days out. We've got lower 100s to approaching 110 as we start off next week, hence the alert days. These nice evenings disappear as overnight lows start dropping off into the lower 80s to start your day, which is also not going to help. The only bit of respite we have is heading into next week. By Wednesday, you see that? We have a decent shot of some showers and thunderstorms Friday night. That is the earliest any relief may come is by Friday night. And even that isn't 100% guaranteed. As you know, we're still a week out from this, and it may be one of those systems that falls apart. We're hoping that that's not the case, that we do get this rain, but even then, it's not going to be enough yet to help out with this drought situation, which, as you saw on the drought map, is only getting worse. It's only getting worse, and we're taking calls from farmers in the area that are suffering losses now because their crops are dying. They're burning up because there's no humidity in the air even for them to draw from to get some kind of moisture. And the situation, again, does not improve for a while.
And it's a trickle down to the consumer too, because when there's not as many crops that are harvested because of Mother Nature, then the prices are going to go up at the store too.
Yeah. So, and that's something we're going to have to watch. You know, we may not be at that point just yet, but I mean, if these drought conditions don't let up, and you saw how the severe drought expanded significantly, if it continues to expand, then this situation is only going to get worse over the next several days.
It affects everybody.
It
All
does.
Right. Thanks, Chris. We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Corporal Patrick Kelly in the U.S. Marines. The Neosho, Missouri native served in both Cuba and Vietnam from 1963 to 1966. To Patrick Kelly, we thank you, our four-state hero. If you've ever snuck a fingerful of cookie dough out of the bowl while no one was looking, then you're gonna love today's recipe. Howard shows us how to make cookie dough bites in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Remember growing up and helping Mom make chocolate chip cookies? As soon as she would look the other way, you'd reach into the bowl and grab a fingerful of raw dough. Was that ever good? These days, That's considered a no-no since the batter has raw egg in it. Since we don't want to let that get in the way of our childhood memories, we came up with a cookie dough that's safe to eat and is mom approved. Just like mom did, we start by beating some butter and brown sugar together until it's creamy. To that, we add in some flour, a pinch of salt, and a splash of vanilla. Once this comes together, we slowly mix in a couple of tablespoons of milk. And since the best part is the add-ins, we add in some chocolate and peanut butter chips. Of course, if you rather add a chunked up candy bar, nonpareils, or whatever your favorites are, go ahead. Cause now you can eat raw cookie dough without the worry or without getting your hand slapped. Maybe make a batch or two so you can serve it whenever the kids or grandkids want something really fun. To get the recipe, visit our website and type in cookie dough bites. It's that easy. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a very trendy and very tasty way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Love cookie dough. You can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Here's a look at our 4-state market prices.
Latest update on the drought tracker puts a good chunk of the area under severe drought. We've got moderate drought conditions and abnormally dry, meaning all the counties in our viewing area are experiencing drought to some degree. And 7-day forecast shows no sign of relief. Lower 100s continuing with alert days running through Monday.
Wow. Knew it was dry, now it's officially drought conditions.
Oh man, what do we have coming up tonight at 5?
Well, at 5, a new survey says the supply of baby formula powder is at its lowest level in stores since the shortage began earlier this year. We're going to hear from mothers who say it's harder than ever to feed their children. There is some encouraging news though. Plus, locally artist-made Red Oak 2 Ghost Town is getting an historic courthouse. We'll have details. And we'll hear from Joplin firefighters on how they deal with these hot temperatures. Hope you'll join us for those stories. A lot more, of course. It's coming up today on KOAM News at 5.
All right, thank you, Dal. Thanks for joining us for KOAM News at Noon. We'll see you right back here at 5 o'clock.